In March of this year, Tulsi Gabbard, the director of national intelligence, at least to the extent we have any intelligence at the governmental level, testified in front of a Senate hearing that Iran was not producing a nuclear weapon and had yet the ability to produce a nuclear weapon, and that was several months or several years off. A couple of years ago, President Trump uh, uh, criticized President Obama, who he said was getting ready to bomb Iran, because he said if he'd had good negotiating skills like he himself had, there would be no reason to engage in warfare tactics because it could be negotiated. Well, Trump's tried the negotiation. He had a meeting of his intelligence people at Camp David about a week ago. Tulsi Gabbard was specifically excluded from that meeting, and when asked if he agreed with Gabbard's assessment of Iran, he said no because he knows better. He seems to be getting this intelligence specifically from Benjamin Netanyahu, who I don't think is the epitome of wise judgment in these matters, no matter how beneficial it would be to get rid of Iran's nuclear capabilities and to get rid of their ability to continue to make trouble in that region and elsewhere. Those would be good things, but they have to be done with an eye of what's the short term goal, what's the long term goal, and what are the risks inherent in this type of action, because we've seen this type of problem play out before in Iraq, where there seemed to be no short term goals or even long term understanding of what could happen if you start taking out leaders and who's going to replace them, and are you going to have a civil war that could potentially spread throughout that region that would make this problem even worse. At the same time, we should be aware that the director of White House personnel, a fellow named Sergio Gore, has not gone through any of the clearance for White House personnel, and although he is in charge of getting clearances and the forms filled out for White House personnel because they deal with top secret and other secret information or other highly classified information, he hasn't done that for any of the White House personnel because he says he doesn't believe in those forms. Nobody's been able to find out where Gore was born and raised. There are questions whether or not he was born and raised in Russia. He said at one time that he was born and raised in Malta, but the government of Malta has said that they have no record of him being born and raised there. Um, in other news, the I think it's the congressional budget uh, version of the Big Beautiful Bill, or otherwise known as Big Stupid, um, proposed that the president sell off 3.3 million acres of land. The Senate version, as at least as a proposed amendment by uh, Senator Mike Lee of Utah, who we should note scoffed at the people being killed in Minnesota last weekend and made a joke of it at best. Or at worst, however you look at it, has suggested the government and the president be able to uh, sell another 358 million acres of land, and that the uh, president be able to de-designate 1 point or I think it's 3.5 million acres of land that are designated as national monuments. All this comes at a time when Trump and the Trump organization are getting large infusions of money from the uh, richest man in India, whose name I happen to forget at the moment. But the other thing that you should know is on the U.S. Steel, Nippon Steel deal to keep United States Steel headquartered in Pittsburgh and its mills operating and bringing them up to date. There's been issued what's called a 1G share, which stands for gold share, which gives the person who holds it, the President of the United States, the ability to either dictate or quash certain actions that are proposed by management and or approved by the board. this is a dangerous situation where you start having a White House official in charge of the business of one major corporation, which is deemed to be a national security, uh, important for national security.